फिर
Welcome everyone. My name is Shivnath and we are here to attend workshop on Python that will take us from basics to advanced. And this workshop will be given by Trupti ma'am. Trupti ma'am completed their bachelor's and BTech from Bharati Vidyapit Pune and had been university topper from throughout their engineering and right now working as generative AI specialist and software developer at Predictly Technologies Private Limited. That all being said, please welcome Trupti ma'am. Trupti ma'am, please.
Hello everyone. Thank you Shivnath for the warm welcome. Okay, now let's start to the session. So, as all of us know, why we are here to learn about Python, which is the most moving language, I would say. Now, there are many programming language, as all of us know. You being college students, you have learned languages like C, C++, Java, and Python. So, Python is the most versatile language of all, I would say. Yes, Java is used in most softwares, but Java is the past and Python would be the future because most of the softwares which are being developed right now are being developed in Python. And Python is not only used for software developer development, but there are like many other uses of Python as well. Like Python is used in application development, web development, as well as data science, artificial intelligence, especially the new booming generative AI field, as well as it is used for automation scripting and with various another softwares like you have heard of testing softwares like Selenium. Means Python can basically be used as a scripting language for any software, support software. So that's why learning Python is important in today's world. So let me share my screen and we'll start to today's session. Okay, so our bootcamp topic is Master Python from Basic to Real World Application. So, what would be our today's agenda? I will start with Python with the hands-on basic concept of Python, like what are variables in Python, what are comments in Python. Then, along with that, we will also see what are the conditional statements and looping done in Python. Then we will take a example of a calculator. We'll build a calculator. Then we'll also learn about some advanced concept like how files can be created via Python, how to like file handling concept through Python. And we'll also see side by side how Python can be used in many other scenarios or many other applications. So let's get started. Okay, why Python? So basically, first of all, it is very easy language. It is easy to read and write, beginner friendly syntax. Uh, Initially, when I started my coding journey, I used to get very frightened by seeing the syntax of languages like C++ and Java. Mostly Java used to scare me. So I started with Python because I felt I could understand Python, and then yes, I could code through Python. So that's how I started with Python. Now, next point is extensive libraries for various applications. So what libraries means is if you have to use some other application through Python, so you have to use some libraries. Libraries are nothing but some pre-written code which we can directly use, import and directly use. So Python has a very large base, library base. Then next is versatile. Versatile means it can be used in various domains like web development, data analysis, AI, and more. And the next is cross-platform compatibility. What cross-platform compatibility means? The code written in a Unix platform or Windows platform can be run on Mac platform. Means it doesn't matter on which system you have written the code. You can run that particular file in any another system. Now let's go through the applications of Python. Now there are like numerous applications of Python. First foremost is data science and machine learning. Data science is a field where let's say you are a stock dealer and you want to analyze the stock. So what you will do, you will collect the files or the data related to the stock, how the company is performing, where it gets a high, when it gets a low, and you collect all these data and you want to predict for what would be the stock situation for the particular company tomorrow. There you use data science, so and machine learning. So data science help you to analyze the data, and machine learning helps you to predict or to classify what is happening. So this is data science and machine learning. Python specifically supports this because there are extensive libraries which are pre-written in Python, and with the help of those libraries, we can, like code data science and machine learning algorithms very easily. Next is web development. So Python has some very famous and good frameworks like Django, Flask, and there is another one, Streamlit, which we are going to use. So these frameworks allows to like do web development using Python. So Python we would use it at backend, and then with the help of these frameworks we will develop it. Next is automation and scripting. So automation and scripting is like, for example, let's take a use case of real world. So you have one task. There is a Excel file in which there are some written usernames and passwords which you have generated those your username and passwords, and you just want to check whether all are valid or invalid. But now there are like hundreds of usernames and password, so doing that manually would be a very tedious task. So what you would do in that automation is take the data username and password. Enter that in the website and then click the submit button. If the submit is successful, else invalid. So you can do this task within few lines of code. So this is what comes in automation and scripting. Next is artificial intelligence and NLP. So artificial intelligence is nothing but making the machine think like a human. So generative AI is one of the best example right now in artificial intelligence. All of us have applications. Python uses the language which you have to use if you want to develop this. I have developed chatbots for my organization, and I have extensively used Python as my go-to language for developing this, because none other than language other than Python has those libraries or processing capabilities which are in Python. There's another one language, Java. It's not that extensive network. So next is game development. One minute. So next is game development. Now, primarily for game development, we use languages like C sharp, but using Python too, we can do the web development. And then next comes IoT and embedded systems. So IoT and embedded systems are the robotic frameworks. Now let's take an example of the artificial intelligence. You have that chat gpt with you. Now you have the software part, but you want to integrate it with an hardware. You want to make a little doll with the brain of chat gpt. Now this integration can be done with the help of Python. So that comes in the IoT and embedded systems part. Now let's get started with the Python syntax and basics. So for this, I would prefer using code, how to do it. Okay, I hope my screen is visible to all. Now in Python, let us just start from the printing statements. So this IDE which I'm using is VS Code. VS Code is an like development environment which is used by us to write code. As we can also write code in text files, but IDE helps us by auto generating the methods. So this is VS Code which I would be using for show today's session, and it is the go-to platform for me. Python is also supported with other platforms like PyCharm, but VS Code is like easier to use and much better, because you can create virtual environments pretty easily from this. There is another IDE too, that is the Anaconda. So but generally Anaconda is used for machine learning and artificial intelligence or data science. So we would be using VS Code here. Now let us start by printing the famous code, that is hello world. So in Python, it is very simple. The syntax. See, if you want to print something, just say the word print. So this is the function, print function, which is responsible for printing the argument passed by me. That means here, hello world is my argument, that is my input there into onto my console window. So I'll just run this program. So hello world. Hello guys. So this was the most basic first program you could write in Python, that is print hello world. Now there is a very important concept in Python, that is variables. Now what if I want to give different kinds of strings to the for printing and not just hello world, and I want them to store somewhere. So there is a concept called as variables, which we use for storing the data. So what are variables? Variables are the temporary containers of our data. Now variables have various data types, like variables can be of integer data type, then they can be of string data type. So what these data types are, so that they tell our program that what kind of data this is. If it is an integer data, you can perform math operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. If it is a string data, you can perform string operations on it, taking a substring of it, checking whether it is uppercase or lowercase. So for doing specific operations, your PC should know what kind of data is that. It is an integer or it is a float. Float is the numbers in point. So it is a float or it is a boolean. Boolean means true or false, a data which has two values, true or false. So the variables in Python are integer, then string, then float, and boolean. Now these are primary data types. What primary means is these are the most basic data types. Now let us see one by one. Now my variable name is A. Now A is my variable, is equal to, and then I'll give value 3. This is it. In Python, you don't have to initialize the variable data type. Whereas in another languages, you have seen we have to write a syntax like if it is an integer, int A is equal to 3. So in Python, there is no need to do this. Python is a dynamic language. So it is a dynamically typed language. So at the runtime, it will analyze it by itself that what is A. Now if we want to check what is the data type of our A, then let's see that. Now type is again another function which allows me to know what is the data type of my variable. As here we can see, the class is int. That means my A is of integer data type. Now let us give another variable, B is equal to hello. Now when you are giving string as the variable, you are passing a string. it should be written in double quotes. So that is the syntax of writing a string. Now let us again check the data type of our variable b. Here, class str. So our data type here is string. The same we can do for another data types, like let's say 30.24. So this is a float value. As we can see, that is the float data type. And finally, we will see another one. The boolean. Class bool. So int is a short form for integer, str is a short form for string, then float is float, and bool is a short form for boolean. So these are the data types which we would be using most frequently in Python. These are the like basic data types. Other than this, Python offers list, set, dictionaries. So these are another data types which are present there in Python. We use these data types when we are dealing with much larger operations where collection of data is involved. Now, as we can see, in this my a variable, I can store only one value. But what if I want to store multiple values? So that is where the concept of list comes. So in list, I can store multiple data types or multiple values. The same goes for set and dictionaries. So set is an unordered and unique data type. That means there are no repeated values in a set. And a map, dictionary. So dictionaries is where you can store key value pair. For example, you are storing student and the marks of the students. Like let's say for example Sam and the marks is 40. Then again Rina marks is 50. So if you want to store data in key value pair, then you use maps. Now let's get back to our PPT. So yes, we have done this. We have printed our hello world first program. Yes, it was just one line. Then the second point within the Python basic is indentation is very crucial in Python. What is indentation? So indentation means the spaces which we give. See, the moment I gave a space here, it started showing me an error. This red line means an error. So, and what the error is telling me, unintended, not expected. That means this indentation is not expected in Python. Now, the reason behind this indentation in Python is, as we can see, there is no use of semicolon or curly braces done in Python. So the curly braces and semicolon is replaced by indentation. That means if I'm giving a space over here, that signifies that my b variable would be inside a bracket of a. That's why indentation is very important in Python. And trust me, guys, the only problem you would face in Python would be related to the indentation. Indentation errors are hard to find if you have a little practice, but after practicing, it gets easy to you. You can remove the indentation error. And if you are using a IDE like VS Code, it gets pretty easy to give write your code with proper indentation. Now, come and start with hash. As in this example, we can see that hash integer, hash string, hash float, and hash boolean. That is the data type of that particular variable is written in front of them. So what this hash signifies is that this line is not a part of my code. So we write comments for general purpose. Like if you want to make a note of why you are writing the particular line in code. So that note making you do with the help of comments, and that comments, this hash symbol tells my interpreter that this line is not to be interpreted. Now, what an interpreter is? This Python language is not computer understandable. We all know what our computer understands is zeros and ones. So our computer is pretty dumb. It only understands zeros and ones. This Python is a high level language. What high level means is understandable to the human. So you can say that the more the high level language, the more it is understandable by a human, and the more a language is low level, it is understandable by a computer. So Python is a high level language. It needs to be converted into zeros and one, and for that, interpreter is used. As we have compiler in C++ and Java, Python has interpreter. Then dynamic typing, no need to declare variable types. Yes, this we have already seen. Here I am not declaring what my X data type would be, whether it would be an integer or whether it would be a string or float. The typing is dynamic. That means it will get decided at the runtime. Runtime means when I run this code, when the interpreter starts interpreting, that time itself it will take the data type of that particular variable. Now we have seen int, float, string, bool, then list, tuple, set, and tick. Now another important concept in Python is conditional statements and loop. Conditional statements help make decision. Loop runs repetitive tasks. So let's see what this conditional statement is. Now let's take a very simple example of finding largest of two numbers. You are given two numbers. Let us start. My A is 3 and my B is 6. Now I want to write a code to find out which one of them is the largest. So if my A is greater than B, then print A is greater than B. Else print B is greater than A. Let's once again run our file. As given here, we can see that my B is greater than A. So this is what if else does. It checks for a given condition. Now here I have given a condition to find which variable is greater. Now what other conditions are there to check? Like you can check if a particular number is smaller than the other, if a is equal to b. So all this condition you can check and then do some action. Very first initial automation tasks and the artificial intelligence tasks were done by these if else statements. If this, then that. The basics of automation via Python is the conditional statements. Now, another than this conditional statements, another point comes is loops. For example, if you want to print some numbers from 1 to 10, so what you will do, right? Like print 1, print 2, print 3, print 4, that would be like a repetitive task. If you want to do this repetitive task in looping mechanism, you use for loops. So in Python, there are for loops, while loops. And the syntax for these loops is pretty easy. That is for I in range, and then we have to pass the range, and then we can just simply print it. Let's try with that too. Here it is, number 0 to number 9. Now, the important point in loops in Python is that they are not inclusive. That means the 10, my upper range would not get considered. As we can see, my loop has started from 0 but ended before 10. That means it will take less than 10 and not less than equal to 10. So 10 is not included. And the syntax for looping in Python is for I. I is my iterating variable in range. Range is again a function which gives the range from where to the end point I have to loop my I variable. So here 0 would be my starting index and 10 would be my ending index. That means I am looping my I variable from 0 to 10. And then inside this, I'm printing that I. Now here in this print statement, we can see that I can pass a string as well as my variable for printing. And this is separated by a comma. So this is again a syntax and functionality of Python where you can print number of variables in a single line using the Python syntax and comma separator. Now, a major point to see here for the indentation is if I remove this space here, it will instantly give me an error, because what this signifies is that my for statement is a single statement and my print statement is another single statement. Both are separate. But what I want is that my print statement should be inside this for loop. So for that, emphasizing that insideness, I have to give the space. And this is indentation. As I'm not using curly brackets here, I have to use the space to let my interpreter know where the function or where the loop starts and where it ends. What statements are present there in that loop. And this colon signifies the start of my loop. For, after, if, or when you are declaring a function, you generally use this colons to signify start of it. So this is the basic syntax for my loop in Python. For I in the given range, and then print that particular number. Now, as this example given over here, we can see that it is to check whether a number is even or odd. So here, num int input, enter a number. Now, we have seen how to give output in Python, but how to take input from the user in Python. So this is how we take input from the user, that is using the function input. Now, let us take input from our user. Now I want A is equal to input it's simple. So here, in this particular case, I am planning on passing this A as my end range. Now, what happens here is that my A I'm taking as an input from the user. And we have seen that in Python, my variables are dynamically typed. So even if I pass a string in my input, it would be accepted by my Python, and then my variable A would turn as a string. But I'm using that A inside my for loop. That means I am using that A as a way from going 0 to that A variable. So it is supposed to be integer. My program's need is that A variable should be integer. So what I would do is, I'll just simply say that this input should be int. So here what I have done is typecasting. That means changing a data type from one to another. And in Python, by default, whatever input is given by user is taken as a string. So that's why typecasting is important to do in Python. And the syntax for typecasting is int, then parenthesis, and inside parenthesis, I'm passing my input function. Now here, let's pass our input as 5. So here my loops runs from 0 to 4, that we have seen it doesn't take 5. I hope we are getting somewhere in this Python. Are you guys familiar and comfortable with Marathi? Because now I want to use Marathi. Today, entire day in my office, I was speaking in this language, and now I really want to switch back to our mother tongue Marathi. I hope you don't have problem with that. So this is how it is. तर आतापर्यंत काय बघितलंय, पायथन ही एक लँग्वेज आहे ज्याच्या थ्रू आपण आपल्या कम्प्युटरला सांगू शकतो की काय करायचंय, ऑटोमेशन करायचंय किंवा कोणती कंडिशन चेक करायची आहे किंवा लूप्स फिरवायचे. देन ते सगळं करण्यासाठी आता तुम्हाला जी तुम्ही व्हॅल्यू पास करता ती कुठेतरी स्टोअर करून ठेवावी लागते. तर ती कुठे स्टोअर करणार, तर आपण ती करतो स्टोअर व्हेरिएबल्स मध्ये. व्हेरिएबल्स एक कंटेनर सारखे असतात, त्याच्यामध्ये तुम्ही तुमची व्हॅल्यू आणून टाकता. आता तो तुमची व्हॅल्यू ही वेगवेगळ्या टाईप्सची असू शकते, म्हणजे ती नंबर असू शकते किंवा ती स्ट्रिंग असू शकते. स्ट्रिंग म्हणजे लेटर्स, अल्फाबेट्स ऑर एनिथिंग. म्हणजे स्ट्रिंग मध्ये काहीही असू शकतं. स्पेशल कॅरेक्टर्स असू शकतात, नंबर्स असू शकतात, ऑर अल्फाबेट्स असू शकतात. देन फ्लोट. फ्लोट म्हणजे जे पॉइंट्स नंबर आहेत. फॉर एक्झाम्पल आपण हाईट लिहिताना पॉइंट्स मध्ये लिहितो, 5 फूट 6 इंच. त्या टाईपमध्ये जेव्हा आपल्याला नंबर्स पास करायचे असतात तेव्हा ते आपण फ्लोट ह्या डेटा टाईपनी पास करतो. आणि बुलियन म्हणजे ट्रू ऑर फॉल्स. फॉर एक्झाम्पल तुम्ही एक कोड लिहिताय लाईट ऑन ऑफ साठी. जर तुमची लाईट ऑन असेल तर तुम्ही म्हणणार ट्रू, आणि जर तुमची लाईट ऑफ असेल तर तुम्ही म्हणणार फॉल्स. सो ह्या टाईपचे ऑन ऑफ, येस नो, ट्रू फॉल्स हे बुलियन डेटा टाईप मध्ये येतात. नाव हे डेटा टाईप झाले प्रायमरी. दॅट मीन्स मोस्ट बेसिक. ह्याच्या व्यतिरिक्त अजून डेटा टाइप्स पायथन मध्ये कोणकोणते असतात? लिस्ट, सेट, टपल, देन डिक्शनरीज. तर हे डेटा टाइप्स जेव्हा कलेक्टिव्ह डेटा आहे तुमच्याकडे तेव्हा यूज केले जातात. अँड ही कन्सेप्ट थोडीशी कॉम्प्लेक्स आहे, नॉट दॅट मच, थोडीशी कॉम्प्लेक्स आहे फक्त. तर ती आपण नेक्स्ट सेशन मध्ये बघूच. नाव हे आतापर्यंत आपण बघितलं की आता माझ्याकडे डेटा आहे, तो मी स्टोअर केलाय व्हेरिएबल्स मध्ये. आता मला त्या डेटावरती वेगवेगळे ऑपरेशन्स करायचे. लाईक मला चेक करायचंय जर माझ्याकडे 2 नंबर आहेत तर त्यातला मोठा नंबर कोणता, छोटा नंबर कोणता. तर त्याच्यासाठी आपण वापरतो इफ एल्स स्टेटमेंट्स. लाईक इफ दिस देन दॅट. सिम्पल. जर हे असेल तर ते करा. लाईक जर माझा ए नंबर हा बी नंबर पेक्षा मोठा असेल तर मला प्रिंट करून द्या की माय ए इज ग्रेटर दॅन माय बी. सो हे येतं कंडिशनल स्टेटमेंट्स, जिथे तुम्ही कंडिशन देता आणि ती कंडिशन सॅटिस्फाय झाल्या कोणीतरी ऍक्शन करता. लाईक आपण मगाशी केलं होतं की जर माझा ए मोठा असेल तर मी प्रिंट करणार होते की ए इज ग्रेटर दॅन बी, आणि जर माझा बी मोठा असेल तर मी प्रिंट करवलं असतं की बी इज ग्रेटर दॅन ए. सो हे आहे कंडिशनल स्टेटमेंट्स. नाउ द नेक्स्ट टॉपिक विच वी सॉ वॉज फॉर लूपिंग. मी मगाशी जे एक्झाम्पल दिलं होतं ज्याच्यामध्ये मी बोलले होते की आपल्याला एक ऑटोमेशन स्क्रिप्ट लिहायची आहे. त्याच्या ती एक एक्सेल फाईल मध्ये तुमच्याकडे 100 डेटा आहे युजर नेम्सचा आणि पासवर्डचा. तर जर तुम्हाला हा 100 ऑफ डेटा जाऊन मॅन्युअली चेक करायचा आहे की करेक्ट आहे का रॉंग आहे लॉग इन पेज वरती जाऊन, तर तुम्ही त्यासाठी 100 लाईन लिहिणार का? नाही. इवन तो तुम्ही ऑटोमेशन स्क्रिप्ट लिहिताय, तुम्हाला मॅन्युअली ते काम नाही करायचे, पण त्यामध्ये पण जर एकच टास्क तुम्ही 100 वेळा लिहिणार आहात का? नाही. त्यासाठी आपण यूज करतो फॉर लूप कन्सेप्ट. म्हणजे तुम्ही एकच स्टेटमेंट 100 वेळा फिरवणार. जसं आपण ह्या केसमध्ये केलं होतं की मी माझं हे प्रिंट नंबर आय स्टेटमेंट 10 वेळा फिरवलं होतं. वन मिनिट गाईज. ओके. तर हे असतं लूपिंगची कन्सेप्ट. सो दिस इज फॉर लूप. फॉर लूप आपण वापरतो जेव्हा आपल्याकडे रेंज प्रेझेंट असते. म्हणजे मला माहिती आहे माझी स्टार्ट कुठे आणि माझी एंड कुठे. बट अशा पण काही कंडिशन्स असतात ज्यावेळेस तुम्हाला माहितच नाही तुमचा एंड कुठे होणार आहे, पण तुमच्याकडे एक कंडिशन आहे. म्हणजे जसं की जर कुणीतरी डन टाईप केलं तर एंड करायचंय बाबा मला, किंवा एखादी कंडिशन दिली ती फॉल्स झाली तर मला स्टॉप करायचंय माझं लूप. अशा सिच्युएशन्स मध्ये आपण वापरतो व्हाईल लूप. सो हे 2 लूपिंग स्टेटमेंट असतात पायथन मध्ये जे मोस्ट आपण यूज करतो. नाउ आफ्टर दिस conditional and looping logic, we'll go to the advanced concepts. Now we have seen the basics of Python. तर advanced use cases Python मध्ये काय असू शकतात? लाईक मी आताच जे लाईव्ह एक्झाम्पल दिलं होतं, ऑटोमेटिंग रिपिटेटिव्ह टास्क. तर मी जी तुम्हाला आता यूज केस सांगितली ती वन ऑफ माय प्रोजेक्ट यूज केस आहे, म्हणजे छोटा पार्ट आहे तो प्रोजेक्टचा, ज्याच्यामध्ये आम्हाला एका एक्सेल शीट मधला डेटा एका वेबसाईटमध्ये एंटर करायचा आहे ऑटोमेशनचा यूज करून, आणि त्याच्यासाठी पायथन स्क्रिप्ट लिहायची होती. तर तिथे आम्ही ह्या सगळ्या कन्सेप्टचा यूज केला होता, लाईक कंडिशन्स यूज केले होते चेक करायला की ते युजर नेम व्हॅलिड आहे का नाही. म्हणजे आमच्या केसमध्ये आम्हाला हवं होतं की ते युजर नेम जीमेल हवंय, म्हणजे मेल आय डी हवंय. तर मेल आय डीचे काही सेट ऑफ कंडिशन्स असतात, लाईक त्याच्यामध्ये इनिशियली जास्त काही कॅरेक्टर्स तुम्ही यूज नाही करू शकत, @ सिम्बॉल प्रेझेंट पाहिजे. तर ह्या सगळ्या कंडिशन्स चेक करण्यासाठी आम्ही वापरलं होतं इफ एल्स. नाव हंड्रेड्स ऑफ नॉट बट थाउजंड्स ऑफ डेटा होता आमच्याकडे लाईन्सचा, तर ह्याच्यासाठी आम्ही वापरलं होतं लूपिंग कन्सेप्ट. सो दिस ऑटोमेटिंग रिपिटेटिव्ह टास्क इज वेअर यू कॅन यूज पायथन. आणि पायथन स्क्रिप्ट मोस्टली इकडे फार यूज होतात. खूप सारे लाईक टास्क आपल्याला असतात छोटे मोठे जे ऑटोमॅटिकली आपण करू शकतो, आणि त्याच्यासाठी आपण पायथन यूज करतो. Now next is visualizing complex data patterns. Now visualizing complex data patterns. So complex data patterns मध्ये what it is like, we have seen that data science, in data science what we do is we have like data about some statistics, and now you know what that data is, but you want to represent it in form of some visual images like pie charts or graphs. So you can visualize the data using data patterns. For example, you want to display the particular file in form of a pie chart. So for that, Python has a library called as matplotlib and scikit-learn. So using these two libraries, you can visualize the complex data patterns. So these two libraries are used for visualizing data patterns. And these two libraries are part of the machine learning and artificial intelligence framework. So you have to just pre-install these libraries and then you can use them. And the installation command is pretty easy. That is pip install and the library name matplotlib and scikit-learn. Now the next would be building complete applications. At the end of our session, we are going to build the complete application, and we are reaching the end of our session. So I won't drag it out, and let's just move. Now there are Python frameworks for web development. Django, Flask, and TensorFlow are the three of it. Now there are many Python frameworks. I have just mentioned these three. Django is a framework which is very extensive and a good framework when you have to do web development using Python. It is a high-level, full-stack web framework that promotes rapid development and clean design. And the easier or a simplified version of Django, we can say, is Flask. Flask is particularly used when you are dealing with APIs. You want to convert your code into API, then that time we use Flask framework mostly. And TensorFlow is a framework for machine learning and AI applications. If you want to write some neural networks, then you use machine learning and AI applications. For that, you use this framework TensorFlow. And there is one more framework, PyTorch, which is also used when we are building this. Then other than this, there are neural networks frameworks as well. And a very simplified framework that is called as Streamlit, which we are going to use right now. It is a web development framework. Now let's see our exclusive example. We'll build a simple calculator for that. What I want my calculator to do is addition, subtraction, then multiplication, and division. These are the four operations which I want my calculator to do. Now let's get started with the code. So as I said that we are going to use a framework called as Streamlit. Now Streamlit is not part of my Python, so I have to import it. So the syntax for importing it is import Streamlit as st. I have some plugins installed here. So that's why my autocomplete is on. Okay, we are done with this. Now I want my web page to have some title. So for giving that title, this st dot title. Now this is the syntax title method for it. Now I want to give title. So this is how I'm giving it. My application is a simple calculator. So my title, I'm giving it as a simple calculator. We'll complete this code in few minutes. Now I want to take input from the user, which would be numbers. Now st dot number input, and here I want to give a message for the end user. Now what value would do is value would display some default value. And step is so this is my syntax for taking input from user. I am taking two inputs. So one would be my number and another would be my num2. Now I have taken the input from the user. Now what I have to do is I want the user to select what operation he wants to perform. So for that I'm thinking of giving some radio buttons for the user to choose from. Now the operation is equal to st dot radio select operation. And what radio buttons I'm passing is addition, then subtraction, multiplication, and division. Now I have the radio buttons. Now for each radio button, I want to write the operation. First, I'll declare a result. if st dot button calculate. Now here what I'm doing is taking a button. Inside that, if operation equal to addition, then what I want to do is I want my result to be num1 plus num2. elif. So elif is used when you have like to check more conditions, 2 or 3 conditions. That's when you use elif. If my operation is equal to subtraction, my result equal to num minus num2. Then again elif, my operation is equal to multiplication. Then if my operation is multiplication, then my result I want it to be num multiplied by num. And if again elif, my operation is division, I want it to be division. Now the thing about division is you cannot divide a number by 0. So I have to add some error handling concept here, that is exception handling concept. It is when you just don't want a certain error to occur. You know that error can occur, but you want to avoid that, or you don't want that error to be because of like your program breaking down or just not working properly. So for that we use this error handling concept. Now here I'm not handling the error with the predefined way, but we'll just handle it with if else. Else error division by 0. Now for displaying the result, if result is not none, then st dot success the result of our operation would be is result. So this concept is called as string formatting. I'm formatting my string. As you can see, I have used multiple functions as well as variables within the string. So for that, this F means I'm formatting that string. This string formatting is another concept of Python. Now let's just run this. First, we'll save our file. Now, about this, we are using Streamlit. The Streamlit, this st Streamlit. So to run this Streamlit file, what we have to do is we have to use a command that is streamlit run and then my file name. The page is loading. So until the page is loading, just rerun it. Yes, it got loaded. Hmm. Looks like we have some errors in our file. Okay, so due to time crunch, I have a pre-written code for this. I just tried to run that. Okay. So what my first number is, let's say 50, and second number is 25. I want the operation to be addition. I just press calculate, and here is the result of addition is 75.0. That is, the addition is done. You can try it out for different operations, like if I want it to be subtraction, and I'm saying calculate, then after subtraction my result is 25. Let's try dividing with 0. So here the error condition which we handled was division by 0 is not allowed. So this is the simple calculator which we used using Streamlit. So Streamlit allows us to visualize the Python code with very easy syntax. So Streamlit is another framework, and Streamlit is not used when you are doing production level code. It is only used when you want to try out your application. So it is used in development phase. developers or data scientists who just want to visualize their code, they use Streamlit. But when production level code is written, that time we mostly use Flask and Django. So that two frameworks are important. Streamlit, you can just use it to try it out, make it more visually appealing, or if you have some projects or game. So for that, you can use this Streamlit. Now, one very important, what I would say, repository or the place from where you can learn Python very perfectly would be this Python tutorial, that is Python documentation. This is the official site of Python where you can find everything related to Python. I would suggest this is the best place from where you can learn Python. Don't refer to other the websites like Java Tea Point or Gigs for Gifts. Please prefer this for learning, means for exploring. Now, with this, I'll say we have come to an end. Our time has gotten up. Now, hand over to you, Shivna.
Thank you, Trupti ma'am, for this wonderful workshop. तर तुमच्या या एवढा इम्पॉर्टंट टाइम काढून आम्हाला एक वर्कशॉप देण्यासाठी तुमचं खूप खूप धन्यवाद. And for all of the other students, we have two announcements for you. I pinned one message, or you can just scan this QR as well, and let us know your feedback. We will really appreciate your feedback on this workshop, so we can improve on it and give you more and more quality content, just like this. Also, for second announcement, we are hosting Bootcamp on Python Basics to Advanced. This workshop's duration will be 12 weeks, in which we will cover everything from basics to advanced, as just title suggests. Not only that, we will also provide you training and internship in any one of us domain. For that, if you want any more information about it, you can get us through email or mobile number, or if you don't have that information, you can find that information in this Google Forms description. Thank you everyone, and good night. If any one of you have any kind of question, they can just ask in the chat box. Ma'am will answer those questions.
Yes, sure. I stop presenting my screen.
We will take more 2 or 3 minutes. If none of you will have any kind of question, we will stop.
Trupti, if possible, then can you share the code with the students on the Google Meets chat only?
The code for calculator.
Yeah.
Yes, sure. I'll share it. With the code, I'll share the command to run and the installation command too.
Yeah, that will be helpful. Yeah. Thank you.
Ma'am, can you share PPT for us?
I'll share the PPT with the Cipheren members, and you can get it from them.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.
Ma'am, your mic is
Your mic is mute.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys. So what I was saying is I have sent the code in the chats, and with that, the first pip install Streamlit command is for installation of the Streamlit library. It will get installed. You just have to run this command in the command prompt as we did for running, and this streamlit run file name. So replace this file name with your file name. So first run this pip installation command so that your dependencies would get installed, and then you can run your file with this streamlit run file name.py command. Anything else? So on this note, I would just like to share you one thing with you guys. Now it's been almost 1.5 years I'm working, and believe me, Python is really very important in the industry. Other than languages like Java, the new code or development, what is happening around is in Python. So please learn Python. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining this workshop. Good night.